Every once in a while, we get a debate that doesn't seem like it should be that competitive, and it turns out to be really close. In today's video, we're going to talk about who's the better player between Kemba Walker and John Wall. So let's dive deeper into the games of these two guys and try to determine who is actually the better player over the course of their careers. The first category we're going to be talking about is scoring. It's one of the primary things a point guard is tasked with doing every single night on the court. And in Kemba Walker's case, he's been able to average 19.5 points over the course of his entire career up to this day. Though at the time of this video, he's currently not on a roster. Walker also shoots the ball decently. He's shooting 41.8% from the field, 36% from behind the arc, and 84% from the charity stripe. If there's one thing that Kemba's been great at during his time in the league, it's scoring points. His first and last year in the league has seen him average 12.1 and 11.6 points respectively, and every other year outside of that, he's averaged at the very least 17.7 points. His peak was sitting at 25.6 points per game back with the Charlotte Hornets in 2018. Mind you, that was the final year he spent there.
And a chance to tie with a three or come within one. Walker with the scoop. Oh!
Speed. I mean, Tony Parker just,
Now as for John Wall, he's actually getting another shot in the league after suffering numerous injuries. Wall averages 19.1 points over the course of his entire career to this point. He's shooting 43.1% from the floor, 32.3% from behind the arc, and 77.8% from the free throw line. So when you compare these numbers to Walker's career numbers, Kemba surprisingly has the lead from top to bottom. Shockingly enough, Wall doesn't even have the best scoring average in a single season compared to Walker. Wall's best year came when he dropped 23.1 points per game with the Washington Wizards back in 2016.
He gives it to Wall. Working against Bradley for three. John Wall! What a shot!
So, as weird as it feels to say, Kemba Walker should be going down as the better scorer. But of course, there's more to offense than just putting the ball in the bucket, as we have to cover their playmaking too. Over the course of his career, Walker has been a good but not great facilitator. He averages 5.3 assists per game over his career. It's an area that he's basically hovered around every year, as his peak came back in 2013 with the Hornets when he averaged 6.1 dimes a night. His lowest came in his final year with the New York Knicks when he dished out just 3.5 assists per game.
From the perimeter, yet to miss a three.
oh, beautiful wrap pass.
Unfortunately for him though, Wall takes him to school in this category. J-Wall averages 9 assists per game over the course of his career. In fact, he's never had a single season before his injury where he averaged less than 7 assists per game in a season. He was an elite facilitator and distributor in the offense until his injury, though it's a part of his game that still sticks with him to this day. In fact, his final year with the Houston Rockets saw him dish out 6.9 dimes a game. That was actually the worst total of his career, and yet it was still better than Walker's best passing season.
3 minutes to go, first half. Wall, the spin, the dish. Oh, what a feed!
And John Wall getting into the paint, finding his teammates, and going top.
So Kemba got the scoring aspect of this debate, but Wall definitely gets the passing area. Now, we've also got a broader variety of categories to talk about regarding these two guys. The problem is that they're both ridiculously close in all of them, which makes it hard to see either get much separation from the other in the debate. The first would be their impact on team success. When Walker was in his prime, there wasn't a time when the Hornets weren't competing for a playoff spot. They had some bad years, no doubt, but Walker was the bright spot every single game.
Kemba from half court. Oh my!
The same goes for John Wall and the Washington Wizards in his prime, because they relied on him for almost their entire offense, just like Kemba.
Spectacular circuit shot by John Wall. Goes, and a chance for a three.
One of the most surprising stats here is that both of these guys have about 11 listed seasons in the league, and yet both of them have only made the postseason 4 times apiece. Now, when it comes to accolades, they remain nearly identical, though Wall does have a slight lead there. Kemba has been selected to 4 All-Star rosters and 1 All-NBA team. Meanwhile, Wall has 1 All-NBA team too, but he has 5 All-Star teams. He's also got an All-Defensive selection. This is all just to show you how similar of a career these two guys have had, which you probably don't even realize when you think about them in the same debate until you look at the numbers. Now before we continue, let's take a quick break and show you all a few highlights from each of these players' careers.
Shot off the offensive board, dribbled right into trouble.
Look at Kemba.
Pacers starting to feel the pressure. They're trying to play a little too fast.
Oh my goodness.
Shots. It does this. Creates space, mismatch, no communication, goes right around Miles Turner.
Oklahoma City, Kyle Sigler in the game, former Duke Blue Devil. A crazy shot by Kemba rolled through.
Dribble drive. Westbrook takes it in. Gortat was there with the rejection. Here comes Wall. It's Porter up high. Off the screen, knocked away. Wizards get the steal. Here's Wall with Dunleavy. And throws it up and in.
Well, that's all Dunleavy was trying to do was Utah gets back and not much opportunity to go.
Wall behind his back goes up and in. What a move by Wall, and then he faked.
Thankfully, as fans, we've gotten the privilege to watch these two great point guards go head-to-head a handful of times. They played 21 times total throughout their overlapping careers, with all of them coming in the regular season. During those games, Wall and his teams have gotten the better of Walker and his. Wall has won 12 out of the 21 games, not to mention that he's performed better than Kemba when it comes to literally every single area. Walker averages 17.9 points, 4 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.5 blocks per game. Compare those to Wall's numbers, he's averaged 18.6 points, 4.1 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 1.7 steals, and 0.7 blocks a night. So every single number was better than Walker's in these matchups, and his team also won more games because of them. So it's hard to say that Kemba was better than Wall in their head-to-head matchups. The only thing Kemba has over Wall in these matchups is that he has a better game high in scoring. That was a pretty strong 37-point outburst against Wall and the Wizards, though Wall was still very close in this category with 32 points against Kemba and the Hornets for his matchup high. Alright, another really important factor when it comes to deciding who's the better player is defense. We'll start off with Kemba. We took a look back at every single season he's played in the league and found out the average defensive rating that he's posted over the years. That number is currently sitting at 109.3. So for those that don't know, the goal here is to have a defensive rating that's lower rather than higher. Walker has also averaged 1.2 steals over the course of his career and 0.4 blocks. His peak steals came with 1.6 back in 2015. So he's a surprisingly capable defender who was ripped up for his lack of size at the position but actually held his own. Now flipping over to John Wall, we found out that his defensive rating over the years held strong at 106.9. So if you weren't already convinced that he's the better defender, then the fact that he beats Kemba in both steals and blocks, that should probably convince you. He averages 1.7 steals and 0.7 blocks a night over the course of his career. As for steals, his highest total came back in 2017 with the Wizards when he was racking up 2 full steals per game.
Cameras with numbers 4 on 2. Sexton and a block from behind. Great defensive play by John Wall.
This is just yet another category that Wall takes the lead when being compared to Kemba. So we've put it all together, and at the end of the day, we come to the big decision of who we think the better player is. One thing we didn't even get to mention was that Wall is clearly the more athletic player when compared to Walker when you look at both of them in their primes. That was a category that was so one-sided that we didn't even think we needed to talk about it that much. We all just knew that Wall was the more athletic and explosive player. That athleticism boost, compared to his playmaking, defense, and head-to-head victories, all just scream that he's the better player overall, too. He's also got more accolades than Walker, and he rebounds the ball better. While it was surprising that Walker seems to be the better scorer during their time in the league, it's just not enough to consider him a better player overall than John Wall. At least not from what we've seen out of these two. Let us know down below if you expected a different outcome, or if you think Walker is still better.